Hi, YouTube. This is a tutorial for Silent Hill 2 Remake, any percent, New Game Plus. I'll be going over the New Game stuff at the end of the run, but we're gonna mostly focus on New Game Plus, and then I'll go over the specific glitch for New Game in Hotel. But otherwise, the route is mostly the same. The only difference is you do some breakouts with the chainsaw in the beginning, where you otherwise wouldn't be able to, other than the apartments one. But main things for the game's settings in terms of that, yo Al, what's up? You're gonna want something bound to quick turn. Quick turn is important. I know a lot of people unbind it. Something convenient and bound to quick turn. And you will also probably want 2 buttons bound to interact. So I have mouse wheel up. I know Egos does quick turn on mouse 4 and then interact on mouse 5. You can have 2 keybinds. So those are just the really important ones. Everything else doesn't really matter. If you hear me refer to Q, that's my button for quick turn. E is my button for interact. Some of them I'll be doing with the mouse wheel, though. Anyway. Also, in terms of the puzzles difficulty, E. Doesn't matter what you do for New Game Plus, E. You can do whatever puzzle difficulty you're most comfortable with. The time difference between hard and light is so minor at this point that just whichever one you can commit to memory first. We're going to be doing it in hard. And here we go. Fair amount of running in the beginning. Not a lot interesting for the first minute or so. Then we get into it. Dashing downstairs is important. Dashing upstairs also saves a tiny bit of time each time you do it. There is also melee dashing. I'm not going to be doing that in this run. But theoretically, with the plank, you can melee dash and then cancel your dash with a dodge. And you can do that basically everywhere with the plank. Again, it's like debatable how much time that saves done over the course of the run. In our case, we're just going to be skipping the plank outright, which saves about 20 seconds. So you can do it however you want. A lot of these breakouts and stuff like that are going to be up to preference and whatever you're comfortable with. So if you have a way of doing it that's not my way, that works better, keep doing it your way. There's no reason to change it. Of course, as soon as I like start recording a video, my throat just fucking explodes. Dashing into cutscenes also is a thing I'll do. Again, if it saves time, it's so minor. Wouldn't sweat it too much. Should also mention I have a on-screen crosshair on my monitor. Just puts like a dot in the center of the screen. I find it helps with lining up stuff. I know there's like a reticle in-game, but that reticle actually goes away when you have a weapon equipped for some reason. So if you want to be able to have your pistol out and have a dot on the screen and not have to aim down sights for it, I'd recommend that. But also, that's totally preference. Grabbing the chainsaw, because this is New Game Plus. I'm not going to go over, like, all the little details of the run. Whatever I can sort of think of, I'll mention. The main focus of this tutorial is going to be on, like, breakouts and the glitches and the any percent stuff. We'll go over that in detail. We'll do some of those multiple times. Also, a good time to mention, I am using a free cam mod, so if you see me no clipping to set myself up for a breakout or something like that, that's purely for tutorial purposes. That is not something we can do in a run, obviously. What game is this? This is, what's a good one? This is, the South Park art racing game on the N64. That's the one. I'm playing New Jersey Turnpike over here. Super Enhanced Edition. My throat. I'm playing as Kyle, yeah. Green coat. For a lot of these opening sections, lines are definitely important, but there's only so much time you can really save running in a straight line, you know. Is this a PC-only tutorial? I mean, no. All of these glitches work on console. That's a good question. Thank you. All these glitches should work on console the exact same way that they work on PC for the most part. Obviously, you will have to translate from keyboard overlay to controller. So yeah, you could run this on PC with a controller if you really wanted to. You can run this on console. Theoretically, everything is replicable. Should be able to do all of these. There are console runners in the Discord that can help you out if you are a console runner. Never actually watched South Park. Is the fat one Rick or... Yeah, you're thinking of Homer. Homie! Dashing into this cutscene. Don't think it really saves any time at all. Oh.
Hey, wait.
Alright, so we're coming up to our first breakout. This one saves like roughly 20 seconds. We're going to be skipping the plank and the radio. And there's a few different ways this can go. So you kind of have to play it depending on how James behaves when he sees this, this lying figure. So sometimes he'll pull his chainsaw out. I kind of prefer that he doesn't. He didn't there. If he pulls his chainsaw out, you could set this up slightly differently. Okay. This breakout is a little bit more complicated than the rest. Because with the rest of the breakouts, we're going to be doing them using the animation of... other than the one coming up. We'll be doing it using the animation of reloading. And that kind of gives us more leeway. It's a bigger window of the reload animation. This one's a little bit more complicated. So, the core concept here of a breakout, the fundamentals, which I probably should have explained earlier. When James is in an animation, any animation, it could be a reload animation, it could be the animation of James putting away the chainsaw, it could be the animation of James pulling out the chainsaw, any weapon pulling out, putting away animation, healing animation, so if you take a swig from a health drink, that animation also works. And the basic gist of it is during that animation, whatever it is, pulling out the chainsaw, whatever, we are going to quick turn and interact with a crawl space, a vault, a ledge, something that puts James in a breakout state, right? And while James is in the breakout state, we have no collision, and James will, for the most part, ignore gravity. So, back to this. We don't currently have the pistol, so we can't use the reload animation off the pistol. Otherwise, this would be a lot easier. So, in the case of me, where we don't pull out the chainsaw, we would come up to here, and then we would go into our inventory, go to the chainsaw, and then there's a brief window where James is going to be pulling out the chainsaw. And during that window is when I quick turn and interact. And you also notice I position the camera just a little bit to the left because James is going to be quick turning to the right. So if our camera's too far to the right, then he's going to start quick turning and he will never see the interaction point. And you won't be able to get the interaction. So it's going to happen fast, but equip, and then quick turn, and we interact. And then for this one, you see I'm holding W and A, so that we dash to the diagonal left. So forward and to the left. Okay? Kind of a lot. There's another way that you can do this one. So let's say you're running around this corner, and James pulls out the chainsaw. And you're like, shit, James already has the chainsaw. I can't do it with James pulling out the chainsaw. You have two choices. You can either wait, and James will eventually put away the chainsaw, and then you can do it off of that animation. That's one way you can do it. Or you could force James putting away the chainsaw and then pull it back out. And the way you would do that is, I'm gonna put myself back here, is, let's say James pulls out the chainsaw, you're like, damn, I don't want the chainsaw out. What you can do is you can pull out the map, and that should force James to put away the chainsaw, and then once you have the chainsaw away, you can go back to equipment, and then do your breakout as normal. This first breakout has a lot of leeway, in that you saw my first dash was actually off to the right. As long as you're dashing diagonally left from the start as soon as you can, you should still be able to correct and come out right about here. And as you can see, we skipped the plank and the radio. That's our first breakout. They actually get, for the most part, it gets slightly easier once we pick up the pistol. But yeah, that's the core mechanics of a breakout explained. Now this second skip saves 5 minutes, so this one's pretty important. Do breakouts work on current patch? Yes. Breakouts work on all versions of the game. So, I should explain. As we're running up, you saw that lying figure crawled out. That puts James in the aggro state. So now he has the chainsaw out. We want him to, the way I set this up is I like him to put away the chainsaw and then pull it back out. And the way we're going to force that is by opening up the map. And ideally, James still has the aggro, and he'll pull the chainsaw back out. If he doesn't, we can set this up the other way by pulling the chainsaw out ourselves from the equipment menu. So I'm going to run up to this window. We're going to face this way, slightly to the left. Map. Put away the map, and then James pulls out the chainsaw, and we can break out. So this one is kind of complicated. Your first few attempts, you're probably going to end up like stuck in this wall, stuck in this washing machine and stuff. And you can technically do this one forward facing. I just find it way more comfortable to do backwards. So let's say James put away the chainsaw and did not pull it out for some reason, and you need to pull it out. You can also do it this way, off of the animation of James pulling out the chainsaw, and you can do it that way. I'll just do it one more time for demonstration, because it's pretty quick. So, we map, close the map, QE, and then we dash to the left. You see I'm holding A during that breakout. So we quick turn, we interact, and then we hold left, so that James hops right through that fence. It's a quick one, happens very fast, saves 5 minutes, it's pretty important. It skips the entire outside sort of section where we have to go to the record store, we have to go to the bar, we have to do the jukebox puzzle, we have to go to the apartments, we have to get the button. We don't have to do any of that if we do that breakout. So it's a pretty important one to learn. I would say the very first one, the one where we're skipping the plank and radio, maybe less important. Like if you're not super comfortable getting that one, it's only 20 seconds-ish to go get the plank and the radio, but it's up to you. Now we're going to come through here. Keep in mind we are going for the dog ending because this is New Game Plus. So because of our crazy route, this is now the most convenient time to go and get the dog key. So we're going to come through here. Make sure you don't forget this because it is kind of important. Come around here, grab the dog key. And fortunately, the way the breakout works, we're on the road that we need to get to the apartments and grab the dog key, so it all works out pretty conveniently. All in all, grabbing the dog key maybe loses like 20 seconds for this first one, and then it loses maybe another 30 seconds for the second piece. But not a big time difference in the scale of New Game versus New Game Plus. And now we're gonna do a little bit of apartments, pretty normal, pretty chill for the most part. I think I've covered just about everything. There is another way you can set up that apartments breakout, the one at the window, where you can actually use a healing item to set it up, if you want to do it off of the healing animation of that. It's almost definitely faster to use the chainsaw animation, I think, than pick up the healing item, but if you're comfortable with it, and it works for you, then do it. Name it William. You don't know what splits have already been named, so just do the first one that still hasn't been named. Okay, I'll rename I'll rename this split, the split that we're on. Golden Apple Key is now William. There you go, dude. Right. I suppose now's a good time to mention you technically, oh, come on. Technically could be doing breakouts on like these windows and stuff like that. I'm gonna go over some of the more minor traversal skips, like sort of just the concept of them. I wouldn't recommend necessarily implementing them straight away or at all. A lot of them have a high risk of soft lock and maybe only save like a second at most. So it's one of those things where if you're really grinding your times down, yeah, then you probably want them. If you're not super grindy about it and you don't want to throw every other run to getting stuck in a wall. Yeah. It's a very modular run. There are some skips that you definitely want to learn because they save so much time, and then there are other skips that it's like, you could do it that way. You know, you could do it the safer way. It's up to you. Come over here, grab the apple. And since we don't have the radio here, because we skipped it completely, James never pulls out his chainsaw there. That is an issue in other categories, where you do have the radio. If you don't turn the radio off, James will pull it out when you're going to pick up the apple. It loses a few seconds. This run left a taste of concrete in your mouth. Yeah, I can do that. There is a lot of drywall and chipped paint and rust. For sure. Nothing too crazy with the route right now. We're about to get the pistol, which is the most powerful weapon in the run. But not because we shoot with it. In fact, we do very little shooting with it at all. But it basically, it enables us to quickly be able to break out whenever we want. Gonna come over here. I'm gonna grab both stacks of pistol ammo. If you want to be risky, you can only grab one. The important thing is we need to be able to reload. This is a very critical thing. We need to always be able to reload. There should always be some leftover ammo. Also, dodging in that hallway skips the scream so that we can reload. All right, so this breakout, this is one of the more minor traversal ones. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this one. I don't even really go for this one most of the time. But basically, you can break out here, and that's why. That's a perfect example why. You can break out here and put yourself closer to the key. So you can basically use the animation of dodging while you're in the breakout to get to the key. So, core concept of reload breakouts, right? We're going to be reloading, quick turning, and interacting. And again, the reason why I'm facing to the left is because when I quick turn, James is going to turn this way. So if we're too late with the interaction, James is going to be like over here. It's not going to work. Yo, what's up, Kako Demon? So you can also do this one backwards. At that point, you're not going to be saving time, I don't think, because this one's so fucking minor. But yeah, the core idea is you would come up here, reload. See, this one's tight. Reload, quick turn, and then dodge, and get over to here. As you can see, it's like, it's kind of tough to get those head-on breakouts. A large reason for that has to do with the timing of when you dodge. So depending on when you dodge and the direction the camera is facing determines the angle that you're going to be, which means that if you're in one of these wall animations and the camera like pivots to the left, that actually affects the direction that James is going to be dodging. So a few of them, we have to kind of compensate for that by dodging in the correct direction. But yeah, the basic gist of this is you don't end up in the kitchen, you end up closer to there. In fact, this one seems to be easier for me with the mouse wheel, I think. Yeah, like that's a little bit better. Again, I'm not gonna go too deep on those. I wouldn't recommend, like, if you're watching this tutorial and you need this tutorial to get at least the basics of Breakout, you're probably not quite ready to throw those in, but I don't know. You do you. Word, yeah, Kako Demon, thanks for dropping in, dude. We're doing a little tutorial slash guide for the Silent Hill 2 speedrun. Again, another one here, and technically you could do it off of the animation of James pulling the pistol back out. I don't know, I don't even know if I'd recommend that one. So our code here is 12, 13, 7, 11. The reason why we go to 12 first is because it's faster to go to the left than it is to go to the right. So the code's actually 13, 7, 11, but I've sort of internalized it as 12, 13, 7, 11. So there's a key here. We're not going to pick up this key. Picking up the key is slow. And we have a breakout that we can do that's super free. This is probably a good one to, like, learn with. This is, like, the first spot that you can really practice. I'm going to kill this guy. You don't have to do that. I never do that in runs. I'm just doing that so that we can do this without being interrupted. So this breakout, another breakout that you can technically do forward facing. I don't do it that way. It's kind of crazy shit. You basically turn around here. Angle that you're looking doesn't really matter too much for this one. And this one's a really quick reload, quick turn, interact, and then we're going to hold straight to the left. So just A. So, and then it's 2 dashes, and we're on the other side of the wall. Super easy. This is a great one to, like, just practice with and learn. You can also, like, practice if you want to go forward, you can do that. Essentially, the forward-facing ones are automatically a little bit harder, because sometimes that'll happen when you don't get the interaction in time, whereas the backwards-facing ones are just a little bit easier, because you always have that window of interacting with the obstacle. So this is a great first one to really practice with and just familiarize yourself with the breakout tech. It's also the first spot that you get the pistol, so it's realistically the easiest spot to practice. Right, so this one's actually very simple. Just line yourself up with the little crack on the wall there, and we're just gonna go straight back for this one. So reload, quick turn, interact, and straight back, and 2 dodges gets you through that wall. This one's just a swag one. It really doesn't save any time, but you can do this. It's pretty cool. It's a bit risky, that one. I wouldn't throw that one into a run just for fun, because there's a chance you end up stuck in the wall. So, with all of these, there is a high risk you end up stuck in the wall. It'll probably happen a few times during this tutorial when I'm showing stuff. Yo, waifu, how we going? So, this is a big one. This one saves probably 30, 40 seconds, roughly. We're gonna be skipping the entire Eddie section. The way I do this one is I mostly go straight back once we're in the breakout, and I throw 1 to the diagonal right. So, we're gonna go reload, quick turn, interact. Oh, hang on. Reload, quick turn, interact, and then we're gonna go straight back, and I'm gonna do 1 dash to the diagonal right. And we keep going back, and then we're outside in the courtyard. Eddie's still in there, throwing up, and we're out here. That one is shockingly easy. It might not look like it's easy, but there is a fair amount of leeway. The only important thing is that you're dashing sort of as soon as you can. You don't really want to delay the dash very much on that one. Oh yeah, waifu, I heard. I'm so sorry. So sorry, dude. Takes time. Takes time. Alright. So we got our coins. We are going to do the coin puzzle. Nothing fancy here. Can't skip this. Not yet, at least. Do this. The reason I put these in, a few people have asked, they're like, why do you, like, put the coin in before turning it? It's because if you don't, you'll swap places, and you'll have the other coin on the far side. So that loses time. Here, I should have paused sooner. Here, we do a little reload. This is, like, super minor. You don't even necessarily have to do it. We do a little retry, and it sort of skips the animation of James looking at the item, because the item is already... The James is already in the item. The item is already in James's inventory. once we get to that cutscene. So we're basically just skipping that little bit of delay. And then I always pause coming out of these so that we can let it fade in. Otherwise, we're trying to control James on a black screen. It's a little awkward. And we're on to Otherworld Apartments. So far, so good. I don't think I've missed anything too major. Yeah, the most important thing, I would say, is the core concept of breaking out. You sort of have two different ways of doing it, right? You have the first two breakout ways that we showed, where you're doing it off the chainsaw animation. And then you have the way through reloading, which is what we'll be doing from here on. Except for one. There is one where we will be using the weapon pull-out animation. But yeah. Otherworld Apartments, pretty chill for the most part. We have like 2 sort of important skips, maybe 3, that we're going to be doing. And then we sort of have a route deviation during one part of the Otherworld Apartments. Again, you could do a breakout there. You could use that to get a little bit forward. You can also do one here. Hang on, I'll just show it off. You do one here. You could do one here to like get forward a little bit. It's like really minor time save in the scheme of things. It's cool swag points though. If you're going for max swag points, yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, I'll definitely mention enemies affecting Breakout. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, now's a good time. You don't really want enemies to be too close when you're doing breakouts, because there is a chance that James will auto-lock on to the enemy while you're dodging. For some reason, James likes to auto-lock on to enemies. Here's a nice little breakout. That one does save like 3 seconds. That's a front-facing breakout. That's a little bit tricky to get. And this one, so this is gonna look kind of snazzy, but basically for that one, we are using the animation of James pulling the pistol back out, because James obviously gets an aggro there. So I'm gonna go over this one a little bit more. So we get an aggro off of that enemy, which means that James is going to pull out his gun the next time he puts it away. So when we climb up here, well, we're not aggroed anymore, but trust me, if James was still aggroed, he would pull out his gun. And we can actually use the animation of James pulling out his gun to get the breakout straight away, front-facing, really clean. It's a very nice, it's a cool, optimized way of getting it. If you don't get it that way, it's totally fine. You can do it another way. And this one is pretty important. This one does save quite a bit of time. You can face this way, and then quick turn. Oh, hang on. Reload, quick turn, interact, and then we're just going straight to the right. Whichever way you do that one, you're just going straight to the right. You don't need to put any spice on it. You don't need to go forward, you don't need to go back. Should mention, there is a checkpoint that gets made when you go through this window. No matter where you are, the checkpoint will get made. So if you're stuck in a wall, the checkpoint will get made with you stuck in a wall. So our last autosave, other than the, like, this one is the autosave that got made when we did that breakout. This autosave will potentially be soft locked. Worst case scenario, when you're practicing, you can load this autosave. It's not that far back. But if you're practicing this autosave and you say you're on console, you don't have the no clip for practicing, you can make your save at the room where the clock is, so that you can practice this one a little bit more consistently. Another thing that might happen that I should mention is sometimes when you're trying to go for this one, James will just he'll just do that, and he'll just hop off. The reason for that is because you are pressing your interact faster than James's quick turning. So you sometimes, in this case, you want to delay your interact just a little bit to allow for James to actually do the quick turn. So reload, quick turn, then interact. That might be a weird angle. No, still good. So that's the basic gist of it. Right, so here, we have a little route deviation, right? You can choose to do it the faster but more dangerous way that people like Egosmania does, or you can choose to do it the safer but slightly slower, it's like 5 seconds, the slightly slower but safer method that I choose. The reason for that is normally, right, we would come through this window, and when we come through this window, that scaffolding breaks. And since we didn't go through that window the normal way, the scaffolding is still there, which means that we can actually backtrack that way. And that's useful, because when we turn this valve, an enemy spawns here, and it wakes up all of the enemies in the hallway. So, the way I'm going to be showing it right now is the way that I like to do it. It's definitely the safer way. So we're going to come through here, we're going to hop out of the window that we would normally go in through, and we're going to go back around the other way. And the reason for that is a very important mechanic that I will mention right now. So that enemy nearby could potentially fuck this up, like really, really bad. If he's too close when we do this one, then we'll end up in a crazy wonky angle. So that one, it's hard to explain verbally, but you could go back and look at the keyboard overlay. For that one, I do a reload, quick turn, interact, and the first dash, I go straight to the right, and that kind of puts James in that forward right diagonal direction, and then I hold S and D to go back and diagonal to the right, and that puts us basically right in front of here. That's one that you might want to practice, but be warned, if an enemy is anywhere in your aggro range when you go to practice that one, you will end up in the hallway. So if you notice, if you go to do that one, and you're like, what the like, I'm in the hallway, I went all the way back to Silent Hill 2 OG, like, I don't know where I am, I'm stuck in a wall. The reason for that is most likely that an enemy was nearby, or you weren't holding the correct directionals. That one's not too bad. If you go the other way, the route that I didn't go, where you actually turn the valve and you wake up all the enemies, I've never been able to get that one correctly. You'll have to watch how Egosmania does it, because Egos has a different setup that works when all the enemies are aggroed. No idea how that shit works. It does not work for me. So we're gonna come here, we're gonna grab the valve. And we have one more big skip for Otherworld Apartments, but otherwise, that's pretty much done. It's called YOLO. It works 70% of the time. Yeah, so I would say if you want a consistent way, my method's pretty legit. Although Ego's method allows for another cool breakout where you go back from that window directly into this room, which saves probably another like 3 or 4 seconds, roughly. Yeah. Yo, Ram Ranch, it's going pretty good. Doing a little tutorial. Little tutorial guide. So far, so good. I think I've explained just about everything that I wanted to explain. Again, if I'm missing anything in the chat, you can let me know. If there's something you want to see explained further, let me know. No problemo. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can ask in the comments, or come to the stream and ask me in chat. We're gonna come through here, we're gonna get Poop Hand James. Now, this is a pretty important skip coming up. It saves like 40 seconds, maybe 50. It is a little complicated. There's a few different ways it can go. When are we getting a Poop Hand emote? We really should get one. I think I have a slot available. We might be able to do that. So, you're gonna see me kill this guy. You can kill him with the chainsaw, you can kill him with the pistol. It's one headshot if you can actually land your shot. So this is an important breakout right here. Normally, this is the part where we would go do the goose puzzle, we would get the swan puzzle, we get the swan head. We're not gonna be doing that. We're gonna break that wall, and we are going to do our first sort of out-of-bounds breakup. So I'll do this one a couple times just to show what's happening here. But basically, the area that we need to go in is directly underneath us. We need to be, there's a hallway right underneath us. That is where Angela is, and we need to be down there. The way, oh, James is doing the pose. We could break out off that animation, by the way. The way we're going to do this is we are going to reload, quick turn, and interact, and we're going to do 2 dashes, no more, to the right. As soon as we do those 2 dashes, basically hands off the keyboard, right? The way I do this is probably the fastest way. I think technically you could do this forward facing, but it's like super risky. The Yo, Cassia, holding down the YouTube chat. We are doing a tutorial, a guide and tutorial on how to do this run. So like I was saying, reload, quick turn, interact, and then we're gonna dash to the right 2 times. So, 1, 2, and then boop. Oh, I fucked it up. Perfect example of how to fuck it up. Let me go back up. I dashed too late. So this is kind of hard to explain quickly, but what we're doing is we are going to balance on that sort of ledge, and you'll notice James like kind of slides off of it. He slid really quick that time. And what we need to do before James falls completely is we need to do 1 dash to the forward. So, to the forward. Oh, hang on. Another thing I should mention, sometimes when you're practicing these, if you're like using especially the simple cam, free cam, I'll link that in the description. You'll notice that sometimes these interaction points go away or get broken. If that happens, just run far enough away from it that there's maybe another interaction point and it seems to fix it. But that's something you might have to deal with when practicing. So 2 dashes to the right, and then we're going to be on this ledge, and then 1 dash forward gets us right back in. It's really fast. It's kind of like your reaction test. There is another way to do this. I personally hate doing it that way, and it loses time, and it often softlocks me. So this is kind of how I've gotten used to it. So theoretically, what's the best way to like show an example of this? I guess I could just put myself... Let me, so... Okay, theoretically, if you end up on this ledge, you're not fucked. It's not all bad. What you can do is you can pause, and you'll wait, and you'll see the world deload, and you wait maybe like 9 or 10 seconds, maybe like 13 seconds or so, and when I unpause, James is going to be falling. So what you have to do as soon as you unpause is press W and dash, and if done correctly, you will dash right as you're falling out of the deload and end up in the right spot. So, oh, see, but this is what happens to me almost every time I try this. This is why I don't like doing this method, because I almost always get stuck in this like pillar column area. It might be better if I moved down to the left a little bit, but yeah, the best advice I can give you is learn how to do it my way. It works every time. Except for when it doesn't. I got 2 dashes to the right, and then whoop, dash too early. Yeah, if you throw a dash in there, you can actually delay the fall a little bit. Just make sure you don't dash back inbounds upstairs, because you can do that. If you fail that one, there is a reload that puts you back in the poop room with the poop hand, and you can reload from there. Also, that when you go to pick up that key, that is another spot where you can do a checkpoint retry, or after the knife, rather, you do a checkpoint retry. Come out of the checkpoint, you're picking up the key. Good, great, grand. Moving on. Pretty much chill from here. Theoretically, if you did for some reason, say, I don't know, miss the guy in the hallway and you used like 3 bullets, because you if you've been following along, you only have like a limited handful of bullets. Let's say you had 0 bullets. That's not a big deal right now. We can safely reload, because we aren't going to be doing any breakouts until a point later when we can pick up some ammo. So I'll just do an example of that. Theoretically, you can do breakouts when you have 0 bullets. The only downside to that is anytime you right-click or aim down sights, if you're on controller, you will start reloading. And that's very dangerous, because if you're like me, you sort of aim down sights to like reposition James, and there's a very good chance you will accidentally let a reload finish, and then you'll have all of your bullets in your gun, none that you can reload from, and that's what we don't want. That's the one thing we don't want. Here, it doesn't matter too much, but if that happens during, say, apartments, you kind of have to pick up more ammo so that you can reload somewhere. So yeah, just keep in mind, you know, I know it's like gamer instinct, like gun needs more bullets, must press reload, but this is one of those times where we want to make sure we have 1 in the chamber and a few in the reloadables. Time for Pyramid Head. Again, won't be really going over boss strats or anything like that too much, but in New Game Plus, it's pretty straightforward. If you need more help with boss theory, I think there's a few other guides and explanations that explain it. Basically, we're just gonna repeatedly chainsaw Pyramid Head while getting interrupted, and then 2 more slashes after... Oh, I threw in an extra slash. 2 more slashes after he does his little dance, and then we're good. And we pick up bullets there, and a syringe there, and I always like to just use the syringe right now. The bullets are kind of important to pick up. Even if you did not waste your ammo, I always pick up those bullets, because we are going to be using at least one of them. But yeah, if you're watching this and you've been following along up till this point, and you made it this far, congratulations. This is where things get fucking weird. Fireworks. Yeah, congratulations. The worst is yet to come. Yeah, we're gonna be getting real weird with it soon. I would say, like, the most important core concepts you should know getting up to this point are just kind of your basic backwards-facing breakout. You should have that down from some practice in apartments. You should have at least an idea of how to do front-facing breakouts from some of the ones in Otherworld Apartments, as well as the first ones in the streets. And as long as you kind of have that theory down and those ideas, then we can build on that in the next few sections, and you will understand it. It's kind of like a math class. Like, you need to know the previous formulas before we move on to the more complicated formulas, because we are going to get a little bit more complicated. Coming through here, we got Maria.
What is it exactly?
It used to be kind of a special place for young couples in these parts. I think it's easier if I just show you.
I usually dash up these. I don't know why I'm... You gotta know S to Hess. Exactly. Yo, Jason, what's up?
There, we can go through the motel. You ever stayed in a place like this? The walls are so thin you can hear.
So far, pretty normal. This is what we would do in a, I thought he wasn't gonna attack for a second.
Thank you.
This is what we do in a regular, sort of restricted run. I want to see people try Prison 3 for the first time. Yeah. Yeah. Even this one that we're about to do in the motel is a bit, this one definitely is higher on the difficulty scale, I would say. Definitely takes some practice. Some of the early ones, a little bit easy. You can figure those out. There's some leeway in the buttons you can press. This one's a little more complicated. So we're coming over, we're grabbing the dog key, but we are not going to continue down the usual route that you would go in the game. We are going to be coming back to the motel. And the reason for that is because there is a breakable wall in the motel. And that's fantastic for us. Huge. If you're on console, this is probably a good spot to make a little save. Because if you mess this one up, you're going all the way back to the Maria section. So I messed up my ammo here, but you can see we want to have a reloadable ready to go. We're gonna break this wall. So this is a new concept. We're building on the main core breakout concept. This is an item breakout. Alright, so there's this weird mechanic where if you inspect an item when you're doing a breakout, it puts James in this weird, like, floaty state. And to do this is really simple. You could do it on any of the breakouts if you just want to mess around with it. But we kind of need it for this one. You can do it Note, disclaimer, you can do this one without the item breakout. I would not recommend it. If you're watching this video, you are not ready for that. It's like I'm not doing that shit yet. It's complicated. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna reload, quick turn, interact, like all of our breakouts. However, we're gonna throw one dodge just to the left so that we don't go through this wall, because you will go through this wall if you do this wrong. And we're gonna press tab. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up our inventory while we're in the breakout state. So use the keyboard overlay if you need to. And then we're going to press tab. And this pulls up our ability to combine the dog key. And this is a great spot to just combine the dog key. And you'll notice when we get out of this, now we're in this state where James is looking at the dog key and he's just kind of sliding around. It's pretty fun. You can just kind of slide him around wherever you want. And the reason for this is because now, whenever our next interaction will always be a breakout. We are already kind of in a breakout state. So we don't actually have to do the quick turn. We don't have to do the reload. All we have to do is interact, and we can dodge in any direction we want, and we're in the breakout state. And the reason why that's important is because we're going to be breaking out to the right here. And there's a roof, and the roof sucks. When you're practicing this, you are going to get stuck on the roof a frustrating number of times. I can almost guarantee. I mean, maybe you're a way better gamer than I am, but the roof is where most people end up on this. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to line ourselves up like this with the wall, so you're kind of like shoved into the crevice. You can see I'm not like sliding around anymore. And I'm going to interact and immediately press W and D. So we're going to be dodging diagonally to the right. Right? So you see I'm a little bit like faced diagonal. You don't want to be like straight on here, otherwise the angle's a little fucked. And then we're going to interact, WD. And if done right, we end up kind of in the roof. If you end up halfway in the roof like that, it's okay. You can usually look or aim down sights and face down, and James will fall down. Sometimes you have to wiggle it a little bit, but if it happens immediately, it's not completely screwed. You can usually get out of it. Let me do that one more time, because we want to end up in that warehouse. I heard an enemy. Let me do that one more time. So here's the whole setup. So, quick turn. You would usually combine the key here. We have the key out now. We line up like this. And then, oh, I think I fucked that one up. Yeah, I was way too late on that one. Oh, never mind. We still got it. What? Is there an enemy here? Oh, hang on. We deloaded. Do it one more time for, oh, see, that's what I was talking about with the broken interactions. If that happens, you can just run away, come back. Should fix it.
Hey.
How'd she?
You think I'd look good in this?
Holy shit, she teleported in here. Usually you have to let her in. That's so funny. Okay, so we're gonna do this again. Oh, wait. I think we are actually aggroed right now. Okay, that works. You can do it with any item. Doesn't have to be the dog key. It's just the item that we have. We're gonna do it again. See, that's the optimal way. If that happens, you just fall straight in. You don't have to do any wiggling. You're already in there. Now, as you can see, the cabin sort of deloads here. Let me just do this one last time. Whoa. Spooky. Let me do this one last time, just to show... Hang on, broken interaction. One last time. And this one, again, it'll take quite a bit of practice. Dog key, over here. And we go straight to the right. And we're in. Right, then we're going to come over here to this corner, and you're going to pause. And the reason why we pause is because that'll deload this. What's important is that you do not get stuck in the corner. If you get stuck in the corner, you're almost likely screwed, and you just can't move, and you can't deload the shed again. So you want to make sure you're holding W when you get out of there. As you can see, it loads back in. And then we're going to come here, and now we're going to be doing a little bit of out-of-bounds routing. It's not too difficult, because fortunately we have a sort of placeholder item that we can use to figure out where we're going. So you're going to come up this little hill here. You're going to notice it starts to get green. And right there is what looks like a CSGO flashbang. And you sort of run towards that, and you're here. So we just went from the motel straight to here. That routing, that path, You might have to rewind and watch that pathing just a little bit. It's not too difficult. Once you get around the fence, you're almost just going in a straight line. Sometimes you have to correct a little bit. You might get stuck in the bushes a few times. It's not a big deal. A little fun side effect that you get out of this is that Maria is not in this cutscene when she normally would be, which means her voice lines just don't even play. Yo, Cleanery. And Erica, what's up? Glitchy McGlitcherson. Do you need to have played CSGO to do this run? No. You need to have played CS 1.6.
Yeah.
Okay. We've skipped a fair bit. That one from the motel is one you will definitely want to learn. That is one of, like, you know, some of those minor traversal ones you don't got to worry about. That one is pretty big. Did I ever try running this? No, I didn't. I never did, actually. I do love Visage. Visage. I do love that game. Oh.
Laura?
So pretty chill here. There's a few optional breakouts. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for these. You can do one here to get yourself a little bit forward. Like, it's really, it's minor. Oh, not like that. Not like, see, that's why you don't want to go for these, because you end up sometimes in the shelf, and it's bad. So I'd say if you're watching this tutorial, don't sweat about it a little bit. You can figure it out later. This is one that actually I found. It's really toxic. I wouldn't recommend going for this one either. But if done correctly, this one, well, does save 5 seconds. Oh yeah, shelf lock. There you go. Yeah, we want to end up outside of this room. I wouldn't recommend this one though. See, I can't even do the one that I found, dude. There we go. That's it. And if you land right here, this one has a fun side effect of Laura's still there. Oh, gremlin hands. Look at those gremlin hands, dude. What is she doing? Grabby hands. Anyway. We actually, in Visage on our casual playthrough, we actually ended up out of bounds by accident, I remember. It was really goofy. How's it going? It's going pretty good. Pretty good, dude. Alright, so coming up to the hospital, we are going to do another item breakout. You don't have to do an item breakout for this. This is another one that theoretically you can do without the item breakout. I find it helps a lot. It makes it way, way, way more consistent. Way easier to hit. Yo, Furry. So, we're gonna come here, we're gonna break this window. Reload, quick turn, and then items, and we're gonna pull out anything. It could be a map, it could be whatever. I'm gonna go with the ammo. Then we're gonna line ourselves up here, and just go straight forward, and just mash dash until you're through. If done incorrectly, you'll get kind of stuck here. Don't aim for this corner. Whatever you do, this corner is doom. Try and aim for sort of the center of the wall, and that one's really free with the item breakout setup. You had seafood at a restaurant and it made you sick. I'm sorry, dude. That's really unfortunate. Bummer. Yeah, the run's going well. We're doing a little guide here. So we're gonna come over here. We're not gonna be doing really anything in hospital. This is our next module that we're learning here. All right. So what we're gonna set up for is what's called an airwalk. And in the airwalk state, we have no collision. We ignore gravity. James just kind of hovers on the same floor. He can't go up or downstairs. And pretty much all interactions are deloaded. And once we're in that state, what we're going to do is we're going to skip basically the majority of this. We're just going to go straight for the key items that we need to get out of here. However, we need to reload those key items. So it's a little bit complicated. Also, your camera angle may differ from mine during these. The reason why it looks a little different is because of the no clip, simple cam, free cam shit. But functionally, everything else is the same. So we're gonna come over here to this, and I'm gonna dodge. All it needs is like 1 or 2 times to the left. All right. So reload, quick turn, interact. We're gonna go 2 times to the left, and then we're just gonna pause. And if you don't have the free cam, the camera's not gonna move. It's gonna stay on that little corner, and you'll notice in the background. I don't know if you'll notice, but there's like a little deload that happens. It's like in the right about here. I don't think you can see that on stream. But if the camera was in a different spot, you would see it a little bit better. But basically, you're waiting for a deload to happen. All it takes is like maybe like 3 or 4 seconds. We're already way past the deload. Once we're deloaded, we can unpause, and we can dodge back into the hospital. And now we're in the airwalk state. So as you can see, we can no clip. You know, there's no collision whatsoever. And we're just going to run straight over to here. And we're going to end up in here. Now, this is the first spot where we are going to drop our FPS. And this isn't completely necessary. We know this because you can do the strat on console. And also, I've done it on 60 FPS. It just seems to be a little bit more consistent on 30 for some reason. Can't explain why. So what we're going to do is we're going to set FPS to 30. We're going to come over here. This is normally where you would pick up the key item, right? But it's not interactable. So what do? We're going to run outside, and you really don't have to go far. And we're going to aim. You'll notice I intentionally pointed the camera towards the item that we're trying to load in. And then we're going to pause. And from the time that the entire hospital disappears, we're going to wait about 13 seconds. It might vary depending on hardware. I can't speak for everybody. If you're worried about it, you can give it a little bit of extra time, but as long as you're aiming in the correct direction and you wait the correct amount of time, then we should reload the interaction for the key item. And also it has the fun side effect of Maria's going to fall into the void, so you can watch that. Goodbye. So we come over here, grab this. Cool. So we have the main key item. Now we're going to come outside to here, and this is where the interactable, see the camera's pointing at the interaction spot. This is where the interactable is for the safe. And once again, we're going to wait for everything to deload, and then we're going to give it about 13 seconds. Good time to have a little sip. Hydration check. Delicious. I hope I've covered about everything so far. I think we're mostly covered. Right. It's definitely been at least 13 seconds. So now we can just dash back in, and we should be able to get this interaction. I prefer to hit the interaction with the curtains first. You can technically do this without hitting the interaction for the curtains. And then we are going to enter our code, like so. Right. Now, I'm going to pause as soon as we get this pickup for multiple reasons. This is a pickup that we can reload out of. But also, we are stuck in this airwalk state. The only thing that can take us out of airwalk state is a reload of a quick save. So it's very fortunate that after this interaction, there is a quick save checkpoint. So we're gonna reload this, and we'll be holding the key, or we'll have the key, and we'll be right here, back in our normal state. And this is usually where I switch back to 60 FPS, and then we resume, and we're good. That's hospital. If you have successfully done that, you have successfully skipped the entirety of hospital. We didn't do the basement. We didn't do any of the bracelet puzzles. We didn't go into the courtyard. We didn't do any of that shit. Shotgun. Yeah, if theoretically, if you're doing new game, this is where this is where you would go and grab the shotgun. It's very important if you're doing new game to grab the shotgun here. You will not get a chance to get it otherwise. So you would just come in here, you would grab the shotgun, and then you're good to go. Yeah, for New Game Plus, we're chilling. We just have the chainsaw. Imagine forgetting the shotgun on a run. Couldn't be me. And then you would also grab this shotgun ammo if you're running New Game. But we don't need that. Sweet. Over here, say hi to Pyramid Head. Imagine following it with a PB. Yeah. Yeah, New Game Plus is comfy. Oh, hi, Mark. Okay. So we're going to start this fight up. Again, I'm not going to explain boss details. The way I do this fight is I reload, otherwise Pyramid Head's, Fleshlip's AI really sucks. Fleshlip's AI sucks sometimes anyway. And then as soon as this fight starts, I'm going to run at him and chainsaw twice. And that's going to happen while the screen is, like, still black for the most part. But trust me, that's what's happening. 1, 2... and then we wait for him to come back down. There's another method that you can do for this fight. It's very inconsistent for me, so I'm just doing it this way. He wasn't supposed to go back into the ceiling. So this is a shitty fight. I'm not going to go into boss mechanics, because honestly, the boss has caused so much problems for me. You chainsaw him, and then he dies. Boom. Outside of running, can you hypothetically break out on the roof with Pyramid Head? No. We would need a ledge or a interactable, like a vault point. Breaking out requires a crawl, vault, ledge, interactable, a traversal interaction, I guess you would call it. Right, so Fleshlips is dead. Otherworld Hospital, we are going to be skipping the entirety of it. This skip looks probably more complicated than it is. It's really not too bad. If you've been following along so far and you have the core idea of a breakout down, this one is just going to be a matter of learning the direction that you hold for it. So we're going to come up here, and we're going to set up for our breakout, and I'm going to be going 3 dashes to the diagonal forward and left. So WA are going to be the keys that I'm holding here. So, and they have to be relatively quick. And once we do that, we are going to be falling, and then we're going to do a pause buffer. And if done correctly, we are going to end up right at the end of Otherworld Hospital. So, 1, 2, 3, and then we wait. Now we're falling, pause buffer, load, boom. And then we're right at the end of Otherworld Hospital. If you have to go back and watch that one again, do it. It'll probably take a little bit of practice. There is a room up here that you'll probably get stuck in the first few times. But honestly, if you understand the key oh, also I skipped the cutscene, but Laura was running in the void. If you understand the key concepts of the breakout, you should be able to figure that one out just on sort of the key presses alone. And then you'll notice we were in the void. We never actually loaded in the Otherworld Streets, so in order to do that, we're just going to come right over to here, and boom, you know, that's all you have to run to, like that tarp, basically. And now we've loaded in the Otherworld Streets. Will I upload this to YouTube? Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. I'll try and get this up on YouTube, like, if not tonight, then tomorrow. Yeah. Now we're in the Otherworld Streets. Pretty chill. We don't have any real skips here, and then we'll be getting to prison, and that's when shit gets real. It's really real. Dodge that guy. Yeah, there are a few minor breakouts here that you can do. You can do one on this wall. I usually don't go for it. Like, theoretically, you can do this. And then you can do one on this vault as well, if you want. It's a little easy to end up in that building wall. If you're not careful. I didn't get it anyway. Trust me when I say you can break out off of that. I mean, you can break out off literally anything. Once you have the tech down, you know, it's not a bad idea to go around and experiment a little bit. Yeah, saves 1 second. If failed, it soft locks you. Yeah, a lot of these in the Otherworld Streets are not really worth going for because the last autosave is at the beginning of Otherworld Streets. Otherworld. And so it's sort of not worth throwing a run for a 1 second time save if you're gonna get sent back like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, you know? Just chilling. Nothing really spectacular here. But we are coming up to the biggest skip in the run. which is actually sort of comprised of like 3, almost 4 smaller skips. And those skips put together are the prison skip. And we will definitely talk about that
Laura?
a bunch. We have a lot to talk about. Where runs go to die. Yeah, it used to be runs would die in prison because of the noose RNG. Now they die because it's the hardest skip in the game. Right, minor breakout here. This one is worth doing. That one's just a simple, you just go diagonal and left. And you can skip having to run around the back of there. That one is very similar in concept to the one in apartments that we do when we are skipping through the door on the way to the staircase, like before the Eddie skip. So if you can do that one, you could do the one at the fence. You can do a breakout here. It is extremely risky. This is another one where the autosave gets made during the vault animation. You saw the autosave symbol. So if you fuck that one up, it's really over. It's like really, really over at that point. So I would say not worth doing. Cool. Grab the wrench. Yo, Osk, what's up? Yeah, we're doing a guide for Silent Hill 2 Remake right now. Trying to explain to the people, to the masses, how to do run. I think so far I've covered about everything. Like I've said multiple times throughout the run, there's like 10 to 50 different ways to do everything. So practice things, try things out. To them asses, yeah. Experiment with facing different directions, trying to have your camera in different positions. You know, trying to dodge at different timings. Sometimes it's better to dodge earlier or dodge later when you're in the breakout animation. Sometimes you want to delay a whole bunch. Sometimes you want to immediately be on the dodge button. Different directionals. Sometimes you want to go more diagonal. Sometimes you want to go straight. Sometimes you want to go, you know, kind of play around with it. I think in the process of learning how to do this tech, you will naturally sort of play around with it and figure out the most comfortable method for you. Hi, Angela. What do you mean? We got a gold split. Ridiculous. Comfort is an illusion. Swag, it's where it's at. We got a gold. Let's go. The run is alive. Just running through the Otherworld streets. Don't take the line that I'm taking right now. It's not a very good line. Yo, Phantom Rocket, dude.
Hope everything is good. GL on the runs tonight.
Yo, Phantom Rocket. Thank you for the good luck. Thank you for the 6 months with Prime Gaming. The Bezos bucks, dude. Delicious. Alright, almost time for excitement. Yeah, I mentioned it before, but some of the main mechanics, like some of the puzzles and all that shit, and like general movement, you know, dashing up and down stairs and stuff like that, that's not the main focus of this tutorial. The main focus is, if you are watching this, to get you up to speed with the breakout tech. There is some level of assumed knowledge, I would say. Like, besides that, though, you know, just kind of do what you see. You know, for all the other parts that I'm not explaining, just kind of like watch other runs and see what they do, and then just do what they do. Oh yeah, hardware. Right. You will only do what I'm doing exactly on this stream right now? Well then, you're gonna be getting to prison at like an hour in. Like, we would normally be done with the run by now. Right, hardware. Yeah, so there are some hardware differences in this game. They really don't come into play until Hotel, as far as we know. But a lot of the loading and deloading stuff we think has a lot of influence, or is influenced heavily by hardware. So if stuff doesn't quite work the same on your PC, you have to wait longer or less time for load-ins, or you have to pause buffer because otherwise something doesn't load in, like on that Otherworld Apartments one. I'm pretty sure there are people that have to pause buffer that one. I, you know, can't account for every type of hardware. There is a skip called Bug Room Skip, where we skip the bug room and don't have to do this puzzle. However, if you get this first, second, or third try, it saves, or it's just about as fast as doing the Bug Room Skip, if not faster. So I don't really do it. It's a 1 in 6 shot. Okay. We have quite a lot coming up. Right, we're gonna be doing 3 breakouts. Welcome to hell. This is a good spot to make a save if you're practicing this. I'd recommend. Because there's a lot of components to this. So first things first, we're gonna come right over to this cell. We're gonna do a breakout on this wall. And the direction, this one's actually quite easy because we can see James and we can control him as we're doing it. So we're gonna reload, quick turn, interact, and we are going to go diagonally to the right, and you'll see James. We want him just in that door, and as soon as he goes past that door, you're good. If you dash an extra time, you might end up in that gate. So don't throw that extra dash in. So again, from here, I'll do that one more time. Also, this is another one where if you dilly-dally a little too long, the enemies might fuck up your line. You'll notice it because you can see James. Obviously, something you're gonna have to deal with. So, cool. We're in there. Now we go up. It's very important to kill this guy. Not that guy. This guy. Otherwise, your angle will get crazy on this one. So this second prison breakout is probably the one that I think the most people struggle with. The third one we now have down pretty well. It's pretty doable with varying levels of difficulty. This one is always difficult. No matter how you approach this one, it's always difficult. You have like barely enough time to get the dodges in that you need, and the direction has to be kind of specific. So the way that I set this one up is I first position James against the wall like this, and I aim this way. And we are going to reload, quick turn, interact, and we're going to do one dodge diagonally to the right, and then the rest straight forward. So one to the right, and then the rest straight forward. And that was perfect. And if done correctly, you'll end up in here. When you're practicing this, you're going to end up in here. You're going to end up popped out of that. You're going to end up in the wall. You're going to fall down. It's going to be miserable. This one takes a lot of practice. I would say this one alone, I've probably practiced for like 2 hours, maybe. And I still don't get it right every time. So, again, from here, go reload, quick turn, interact. That might be too far. Nope, that was still good. I kind of wanted to show what happens if you fail this one. Here, so let's say you do it, but you don't get all the way. That one still worked. Sometimes the shelves will shove you out. I don't know why I'm getting so lucky now. Like, this is way luckier than I would ever get in a run. Here, that's a good example. Right, so this will happen a bunch when you're practicing this. You'll be, like, right at the wall. You'll be so close. You'll be like, dude, there's no way I can get that last dash in to get the distance. It really doesn't feel like you can. But you can. You totally can. You can do it. So, basically, this, and we're good. You actually saw James's model. Like, we were just in the wall at the last possible second. So that's a bit of a tough one. Now, come around here. There's going to be a bug. The bug might have fucked off, which is a little bit problematic. I think we might be okay. So, usually there's a bug. There's a little cockroach fella that you'll see crawling around. Kill him. You can shoot him. You can chainsaw him. Whatever. Just deal with him. Now, this setup is fairly complicated. We are going to be doing a item breakout, and we are going to combine the item breakout with basically a sort of out-of-bounds breakout. The fortunate thing is, you saw the quick save icon just appeared. So we have a quick save right here, and it's important that we load this quick save, because under normal circumstances, I don't think it happened this time because the bug is already dipped out. Under normal circumstances, you would be in aggro. And if you're in aggro, you cannot set up the item breakout. If you ever try to do the item breakout, but James pulls out the item and then just immediately puts it away, it's because he's aggroed, so he wants to pull out his gun. Here's how we're going to do this. First things first, we are going to go to high contrast mode. This just helps brighten things up a little bit so that we can see what we're doing when we're setting this up, and then we're going to reload the quick save that we just made. Do I think that the dash... Do I think they're going to put the dash into Silent Hill 1 Remake? Maybe. I don't know. No idea. That's some speculation. So we're going to come over here. We're going to do an item breakout. I usually just dash diagonally left and down, and then whatever item works, it doesn't really matter here. I pull out the letter, and then we're going to come over here, and your positioning is very important. So we're going to come into the corner and be as far in the corner as you can, and then you can see the interaction spot, the little E. See how it goes away? We want to be basically as far as we possibly can while still being able to interact. Once you're at that point, let go of your mouse, right? And the way this works is we are going to do... Shit. What are we going to do? We're going to hold W, and we're going to interact at the same time. So we should be holding W, and then as soon as we do that first interaction dash, we are going to switch to W and D. Okay? And we're going to be dashing forward and right, diagonally. And make sure you are dashing. You do not want to miss any of your dashes. We just aggroed the enemy, I think. And then the final step is the camera is going to do a little bob and start moving up. And as soon as we see that, we start dashing to the right. Okay? It's a little complicated. Reference the keyboard overlay if you need to. So here we go. I'm gonna go whoop, and then start dashing diagonally right, and then wait for the up. There it is, and then start dashing to the right. And if done correctly, you will be here. All right? Now that we're here, we're gonna set up to... Oh, I'll do it again. Once we're there, two things could happen. If you're lucky, you will dash and just be on that little dirt platform. On my computer, the way I do it, for whatever reason, I never end up on that little dirt platform. Fortunately, we have a backup. The way the backup works is kind of fast. Like, if I don't do it immediately, then we fall, and I can't really pause to explain it. So let me just do the whole thing, and I'll show the backup, and then I'll explain it. But yeah, Prison 2 and Prison 3, yeah, like 5 stars out of 5 on the difficulty scale. They are definitely the hardest skips in the game. They also save the most amount of time in the game, so you definitely want to learn these. We're gonna pull out the letter, right? And we're gonna come over here. We're gonna position ourselves in the corner. We're gonna move the camera down, farthest interaction point, and then W, interact D, and then wait for the camera to bob back up, and then dash to the right, and then we're here. Then we're going to come over to the edge, and then dash inside with the camera pointing to the left. So it's important that the camera is facing diagonally left. As soon as you see the world deload, you can unpause, and you'll be past this little barrier, because there's an invisible wall on the edge of that platform that won't let you go past. That little backup strat is really fortunate. I mean, ideally, you just land straight in here, and you don't have to do that backup strat. If you get that consistently, sick. Great, good for you. I rarely, if ever, get that to work correctly. So the backup strat has become less of a backup and more just something that I have to do. Yeah, praise be to XCM for finding this shit. Right. Have I missed anything? That's the gist of Prison 1, 2, and 3. Right, now that we're on this platform, we are outside of the courtyard area where we normally do the hangman puzzle. There's technically 2 setups for this. The old setup is a little bit easier, a little bit more consistent. It is 30 seconds slower, so I wouldn't recommend doing it. I'll show it anyway, in case you struggle with this, because this setup is a little bit more complicated. Right, so how should I even explain this? Okay, so we're going to be lining ourselves up in a position that we can load in the labyrinth. The labyrinth is somewhere down here where I'm aiming, right? And we want to load it in. Right now it's not loaded in. The only way to load it in, theoretically, is to run past the statue, the weight puzzle, in the courtyard. Once you run past that to the noose area, it's loaded in. We want to trick the game. We want to make the game think that we ran that far and we're in the correct area to load in the labyrinth, but not actually have to be there. Also, yeah, it's crazy that the game loads in the labyrinth when you're in here. It's like, no wonder the game runs like shit. Anyway, that's a different ramble. So we're going to come over here and you'll see these pillars on the wall. And that's how I kind of do this lineup. We're going to come over here and you see the second pillar. So we're going to sort of stop here and you see right there that I'm circling. It's like, oh, I wish I could pause that. There's like this little, here, I can show it. There's like this little patch, right? You see that little patch, like the 2 little mounds? We want to be standing like right about there. And you can actually see there's this little dividing line. You could see the little line that actually separates these segmented tiles, right? So we're going to come over here and then we're going to look inward. We're not going to press anything. We're just going to look inward and then we're going to pause. Come over here. I'm going to look inward and then we're going to pause. And this is going to deload. And once we get the deload, now we're going to unpause and we're going to position James's head like this with the torch just above him. And we're going to do a dash and immediately, we're going to dash forward and immediately, before he even really starts to do the dash animation, we're going to pause. And once we're paused, I haven't figured out the exact timing of this. I think it's like 13 seconds. It might be a little bit more. I've had some mixed luck with this. We're going to pause and wait for about like 15 seconds here. Should mention, hardware difference warning. Big disclaimer. You might have to pause buffer this to get this to work correctly if you fall through the floor or you get stuck in the floor. Okay, so if you do this dash and it doesn't quite work out, or you get stuck in the wall, or any sort of crazy shit, you might want to pause buffer the dash, which makes this a little bit harder. Fortunately, I don't need to do that. I don't think. So yeah, if you need a reference for how to do the pause buffer, check out one of Egosmania runs, because he has to do that on every run. So we should be good now. Can unpause, don't need to press anything. Boom. And now you can see down here, we've actually loaded in the next area, which is great. And you could also tell because it gets all dark and foggy around here. So cool. We've done what we need to do in this part of the skip. What I'm also just going to go ahead and show is if you're struggling with that, if you're having issues with that, and you're like, I don't care about the 30 seconds, I just want this shit to work. There is an alternative way. This is how we used to do it. It is 30 seconds slower, so what you can do is you can run around here, and this is just the alternative method. You do not need to do this. You don't need to do both. You just do one or the other. You can run around here and come over here, and then right about here, you can see there's like a little patch of dirt here, and that's about as far as you need to run. And that will also load in the labyrinth area. So if you can't get the dash technique where you line yourself up with the lady to work, then do that, okay? So either way, whichever way you use to set it up, we're gonna come over here. It's important you don't aim down sights, so we keep the crosshair on screen. We're gonna line up the crosshair just like that, where it's just on the corner of this this thing. And it's important that from here, you take your hand off the mouse. You don't want to move the mouse at all. If you move the mouse even slightly, it's going to fuck this setup up, okay? What I'm going to do next, and I have to be careful to explain it before we start doing it, because if I pause during it, it's going to deload the area. What we're going to do next is we're going to hold W and just move as far as we can. And then once we're as far as we can, we're going to pause for about 7 seconds, 7 or 8 seconds. And you want to make sure you unpause before the deload happens. Otherwise, you might dash backwards by accident just due to how this game's inputs work. So you want to be able to hold W after the unpause. So, got that? Then the next step, and I'm going to need a focus because I'll be counting, is when we're falling, we want to dash forward 34 times and once to the right. All without moving the camera. Do not move the camera once. Okay? Got all that? Let's do it. So we're going to move forward until we stop. We stopped, and then we're going to pause. I'm going to wait like 7 seconds. Count in your own language for efficiency, yeah. Totally. And then we're going to unpause, and now we're going to hold W, and as soon as James starts falling, we're going to start dashing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and then we do 1 to the right, and now we pause. Now you're safe to move the camera. If done correctly, if you have dashed correctly, and you have not moved the camera, and everything is loaded in as it should be, we are now above the stairs at the end of Labyrinth on our way to the Eddy section. Okay, so for this, you will have to do some pause buffering. Even I have to do some pause buffering. So we're going to let ourselves drop a little bit and then pause. Let ourselves drop a little bit and then pause. Let ourselves drop a little bit and then pause. If done correctly, we are right above the staircase and we just slide right in. And we're there. Boom. Easy done, right? Let me do it from here just one more time. I'll do the entire thing in one straight shot. Just for reference. In fact, should I do it from the start of prison? Let me do it from the start of prison. We'll do the entire prison skip. Just in one go. This is the most complicated skip. This is probably the skip that you'll spend the most time on. It is frustrating. It is annoying. We'll do this in high contrast mode. We don't need to be in high contrast mode. Look at how much brighter it is. It's crazy. It's like James glows, I guess. Over here. Open this up. Come through here. This is our first prison breakout. Reload, quick turn, interact, dash diagonally to the right. Come up here. Kill this guy. Come around here. Enter into this wall. And we're gonna aim sort of parallel with the wall. Ooh, that's a bad one. Wait, hang on. Fortunately, as you just saw, you can back out if you notice that the angle is fucked. You can sort of abandon ship. Hang on, let's try and get this one right. Jeez. That might be too far in. Of course now... Oh, no, no, okay. Now we're unstuck. Alright, we're good. Kill that guy. Cool. Come over here. Hit the checkpoint. We're gonna reload. This is normally where you would go to high contrast mode. We are already in high contrast mode. Cool. Cool. Now we're gonna come over here. We're gonna do an item breakout. We're gonna do an item breakout. Pull out our item. We are going to line ourselves up with the corner of the wall, farthest possible hitbox for the E. Hold W into the interaction. Switch to WD. Isan Genki, thank you for the follow. And then camera up, we're going to switch to D, dash to the right, and we're going to come over here, do that. Give it just a few seconds for the deload. I hope I didn't move too far to the left. Now we're good. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to look for that little spot on the ground, which is right there. Come over there, go like this, face the wall, wait for the first deload. Oh, yeah. And then position James like this, dash, wait about 13, 15 seconds. I hope I paused soon enough. It's really important that you pause as soon as you do that dash. Otherwise, this sometimes goes badly. Just giving it the time. Good. Cool. We can see everything's loaded in correctly. We're going to come over here. We're going to line up our dot with the corner. Hang on, let me just make sure I'm backed up. Line up the dot with the corner. Pause. We're going to walk forward. Pause. Going to wait about 7 or 8 seconds. We are going to unpause. We're going to start holding forward. Then 34 dashes forward, 1 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 1 to the right, and then we can look down. And then we pause and unpause until we load in the staircase. Bingo! And we're in. That's how you do the prison skip. Start to finish. And now we're on to Eddie. Yeah, like I said, that is the most complicated skip. Also, what's up, Pac-Man? Insert prison break cutaway. And now we're on to Eddie. Good old Eddie. Good old Gumby. And then for this fight, again, not going over boss strats in depth, but I switched to outline and posterize because it gets rid of the fog in this fight so we can see clear across the room. And the basic gist of this is we chainsaw him once and then shoot him once. Chainsaw. Shoot. And then I usually pick up this heal. It's not necessary, but... And we stand over here, and we force Eddie to spawn right here. If you stand a little bit forward, he'll actually spawn behind you, which I think is faster. Let me actually test that. Because I think he'll spawn in that corner, if I look this way. Yo, Abu. What's up? Yeah. It's actually better. And then for the last phase, we just have to chase him down. I hit him, right? Yeah. Nice. Good Eddie fight. And coming through this door is usually when I turn off the outline and posterize feature. A Tear for Eddie? Is that a song by Ween? Not actually. That's sick. And then boat stage, as everybody knows, is 25 rows forward and then 1 to the right, and then the rest forward. Or if you're me, just row forward until it feels good and then go to the right. And whatever. I don't know. Now we're coming up to Hotel. We have a few more fun skips here. Tied with Real Madrid. Yo, that's huge. GG's. Excuse me. Real Madrid. Come to Brazil. Alright, that feels good. I might have waited too long. To the right. Oh, it's a Spain. Oh shit. Sorry. Come to a Spain. I was just giving shoutouts to Brazil. Anyway. Always shoutouts to Brazil.
This place hasn't changed at all in 3 years.
Fake Madrid. Same brain. Same brain cell. Confirmed. Roger and Erica. Did I scare you? Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Welcome to the family, son.
Yo, Opiumus. Thank you for the Prime Gaming, dude. Enjoy the emotes and the ad-free viewing. Really appreciate that. So, Hotel, in terms of routing, it's going to start off kind of similar to how you would do a restricted run, but then we're going to do some drastically different stuff. So, pay attention. Class. So we're going to go get the sunset key. And we are going to come up here. And normally we would go do all that stuff. We're not going to do that. We're going to come straight into this room. And we're going to go in here. We're going to grab the apple and the key. We're going to grab that now because we are never going to come back to this side of the hotel. Once we complete next thing. So this is the one part where New Game and New Game Plus kind of differ. And at the end of this video, I'll go over the New Game Hotel route because that's like really the main difference, at least in terms of the core Breakout concepts and stuff like that. In terms of like routing the boss fights and stuff like that in New Game, man, we're still sort of working on that ourselves. Like, reference a run. Become John Wick. I don't know. Oh. I'm gonna do this puzzle as usual. In the apple. I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna grab. We're gonna get grabbed. Yeah, these guys are a huge pain in my ass for some reason. Oh, you're just gonna be in the way, huh? He went for the guy on the ground. Right. So this is where the route will deviate heavily from anything you've ever seen. You can also do a breakout here. I didn't get it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It's one of those saves 1 second, can soft lock the game sort of thing. I slightly look like John Wick. You can also do one here, also not worth it. I like to kill this enemy, just because it makes setting up this breakout a little bit easier. We're gonna come up here. We are going to grab the 107 key. And then we are going to do a breakout. This one will probably take some practice. There is a one-shot breakout that you can use to get straight to the area that we need to be. It's above my head. It's too complicated. But the way I set this one up is I aim like right about here, right at these like folders. And then we do a breakout, and we want to get off the balcony and then kind of position ourselves a little bit to the right. Like, so we want to be like right there when we fall in. So go like this. That's going to happen sometimes. Just didn't get the dash early enough. There we go. Oh, I dash forward, and then we go to the right, and boom. If done correctly, you will drop right about here. There's a bit of leeway with where you can drop, because as long as you're somewhere in here, you just don't want to be down here. So that's why it's important that you go a little bit to the right. And then once you're in here, the way I set this one up is I aim like right at the middle of the door here, and then we are going to dash diagonally to the left. And this is a very fast dash. You have to be quick on the diagonal dashes here. So, oh, and mess it up. Perfect. Oh, wait. Do we have the interaction broken? Yeah, I think the interaction was broken. Aim here, and then... Hey. There we go. Diagonally to the left for that one. And if done correctly, you end up right in this part of the bar. Practicing this, you're probably going to get stuck in this wall a lot. This is like kind of similar to the one in the motel with Maria. Can we warp back, please? There we go. Here, just to show this one again. Aim about here, and then diagonally to the left, and bingo. We're good. Just ran to try prison break after I explained it. Just did it on second try just now. Yo, GG. Let's go, dude. Hell yeah. Right, cool. So now we grab the mermaid figurine, and we're gonna go to room 107. So since we're already on the first floor, we're gonna do this now. And if you're used to sort of the regular restricted routing, this routing will take a little bit of getting used to because it's not quite what we would normally do. Yeah, dude, GG on that. That is the hardest skip. But I'm glad to hear my explanation is working live and in effect. That makes me feel good about this video. Alright. Cool. So now all that's really left to do is one tiny little last breakout that is not too sweaty. It's very simple. Saves about 10 seconds or so. And here is also where we're going to grab the music key. Cool. Come up here, go to the Mandarin. And we're almost done. If you've been following along up to this point, congratulations. You are a breakout master. Now you nailed it? Hell yeah. That makes me feel even better. You were struggling with it, and then the explanation helped you get all the way. That's even better than if you had just nailed it raw. Nailed it raw. Anyway, we're gonna push this shelf out of the way. And then we're gonna break this wall.
Now you must come.
And, okay, so this is an important time to mention hardware differences, right? So if you're on an AMD CPU, this Mandarin is probably going to be a pain in the ass. For some reason, on Intel CPUs, or maybe specifically my Intel CPU, this guy just AFKs. He literally just takes a nap. He chills out. So the way we're going to set this up is you're going to break the wall, and then we are just going to go 2 to the left, basically. So, oh, wait, I messed up my interactions. 2 to the left. Done. And that just saves us having to run around outside the room. And that is pretty much how you do the New Game Plus run. We're just going to do this last puzzle. And then we're good. Again, if you're used to restricted, the inventory status might mess you up a little bit, because our shit is just all over the place. Yeah, it really is a nice, this last section of the run is nice, because once you're done with the last breakout, it's like you're good. There's no more potential for soft lock. You're chilling. You just need to get the key item and dip out of here. It is like a very nice final minute or so. Still haven't touched grass. Whoa, dude! Holy shit! Dude. King Swift, thank you for gifting 10 subs. If you received a gift sub, please give King Swift your sincerest thanks. Thank you very much for the generosity, man. I'm really glad my explanation was able to help you with the prison skip. And I hope it helps other people. Yeah. Some good names in there, too. Number 41 got one. That's the dude that we helped get their RE-verse achievements. They got emotes, ad-free viewing. You're getting so frustrated you almost quit? Yeah, prison skip is definitely up there. It's definitely up there. Veg Pravda, dude. Anyway, if you're watching if you're watching the tutorial on YouTube and you just wanted the New Game Plus stuff, hope this helped. I hope it helped you out. If you are watching for New Game, we are going to set up for the New Game Hotel, just so I can show that off as well. But otherwise, just about everything is the same as it would be in New Game. Every other skip, except for the very first skip, which we do with the chainsaw, you can't do that with the chainsaw. The second skip you can do with the plank, so that everything beyond that works exactly the same. Show cat? Okay. How can you get the most of endings? There's a guide, I think, online that tells you how to, like, get almost all of the New Game Plus endings in a single playthrough. I think you can get, like, 4 in a row. Missed the New Game Plus tutorial? Don't worry about it. It's going to be on YouTube later tonight. I'll upload it after this video. I just need to put it together. Anyway. Hang on. Let me show Cat. And then we'll go into the New Game Hotel. Say bye to the New Game Plus enjoyers, baby boy. So, New Game Hotel works a little bit differently from New Game Plus. We have a different skip that we can do, because really the only thing we need here is the videotape. And the key to get to the Mandarin. So we're going to come through here, we're going to go to the left, which is very different from what we'd normally do. I'm going to headshot that guy, because he's kind of a pain in my ass. And then we're going to set up for a breakout here. Now this breakout is a little bit weird. We're going to go diagonally left and forward, so I think the enemy here might be a problem. Let's see. So diagonally left and forward, you can see it on the keyboard overlay. That actually worked. Okay, cool. If done correctly, we are out here. And now you can submarine. There's like a big-ass invisible wall here. We go around it. And just kind of follow this route. It looks kind of complicated. It is not that complicated. Once you get out of bounds, you will see just how easy it is. And then we're just going to head towards that gap right there. Head towards the light. That is actually the door frame in the basement. in that first floor that you get to. Come up here, pop, boom, bam, done. Now we're in the basement. Gonna come over here and 7414 grab the videotape. Now we are going to do a second breakout. If you watched the New Game Plus hotel, you probably know what we're gonna do, but it's basically the same as that we used to get into the bar. Come over here, we're gonna aim at the center of the wall, and then 2 diagonally to the left, very fast, gets you into here. We don't need to pick up the music box. There's a new, faster way to leave the... I've already omitted several things from this guide because it's like, yeah, you don't need it. Like, if you're watching this guide, you don't need the fastest possible way. You're just trying to figure out how to do it. All right. Now we're going to come over here, and we are going to grab the 107 key. And then we're going to go back downstairs and do the 107 room, keeping in mind we can't use that outdoor entrance. We have to go back around the hallway because we never opened it up. We never unlocked it the first time. Come down here. This way. And we don't need the sunset key at all. You also may have noticed that door upstairs, the double door on the other wing, is automatically unlocked because the game assumes that we've got the necessary prerequisites to be there, since we were already in the basement. And we're pretty much just doing this for the fireplace key so that we can spawn the Mandarin. Thanks, dude. Awesome. Now we get to open that door, finally. Then we are going to go upstairs to the Mandarin. And we don't need anything else in Hotel. We are, like, really pretty much done. Now, if you watched the New Game Plus route, you saw we broke out here and went into the hallway to the left. We don't want to do that. Also, this wall is always broken if you've been following the guide up to this point, because the game does not recognize the plank as a melee weapon up to this point, so the game thinks you essentially have no melee weapons, so that wall is just automatically broken. Now we're going to be setting up for a airwalk, similar to the one that we did in Hospital, but a little bit different. So we're going to do a breakout here, and we're going to go to the left. And this is a quick one, so you want to pause very fast. You don't want to delay too much, so... and pause. And we just want to wait for the deload to happen. I might actually... Yeah, okay. That should be good. It doesn't take very long for this one. I think that should be fine, right? Nope, never mind. Yeah, sometimes that just doesn't work and I fall. I'm not sure why. Has to fully deload? It's been fine for me before. That was not good. There we go. I think that's good. I think that's good. Yeah. That should be okay. Right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Now that we're in the airwalk state, we can just walk through the walls here. We want to be outside, actually. I want to go over to here. And that room right there, that's the room with the VHS player. And we're going to come over here, and we're going to stand... This, I was told, is a good lineup. And we're just going to point generally in the direction of the VCR player. If that balcony doesn't deload, then it won't work. Okay, good to know. If you do fall in that one, it's actually totally okay, because the checkpoint was made when you went through the wall after the Mandarin. So... if you do fall down like that, then you can actually just reload that checkpoint. It's really close by, and you can try it again. Because this saves like 2+ minutes. So we should be good. You really don't have to wait this long. I think actually you only have to wait a few seconds after the deload. Now we can run up, and the VCR player should be interactable. And boom, we can play the tape. Now that we've played the tape, this is going to load in the Otherworld Hotel. So effectively, we have skipped the majority of the stuff that we have to do in the hotel. We didn't need to grab the key to get up here. Really only needed access to the Mandarin room and the VCR. And then there's a couple more skips that we're going to be doing at the end here. You're going to see me reload this checkpoint. This is just to get us out of Breakout. Also... if you're having trouble with that, maybe go to 30 FPS. I don't know. I've been able to get it consistently at 60. You might need to go to 30 for that to work. If the interactable just isn't appearing for you, maybe try going to 30. I have no idea. I don't fucking know. I don't know anymore. We're gonna come through here. And this first breakout is a little bit weird. So we want to end up right in there. We want to fall down, but the railing is actually pretty big. You don't want to land on the railing. So we're gonna do, shit, how do I even do this one? It's kind of like a forward sideways to the left, and then forward sideways to the right, and it puts us kind of in the right spot. So, whoop, wait, line myself up correctly. Oh, that was too far to the right? Yeah. So yeah, this is a good example. Yeah, this railing is huge. So you can get stuck on this railing pretty easily, and that's kind of bad. I just moved myself back over here. There we go, that should be good, yeah. There we go, that's where you want to land. And this skip's having to do the whole cart thing. So, pretty big, you're going to want to do it. Then we come through here. And this skip is a little bit finicky. I am actually braining right now, I don't exactly remember the directions we want to go. We want to go in that general direction. I'm pretty sure it's forward and to the left, and we do 2 dashes. So... yeah, like that. I just do 2 forward, and it puts me here. And the reason we do this is because we just want to enter the elevator to load in the next area. And now we are going to come over to here. And we are going to use this next crack... oh, wait, I went too far. We're going to use this next crack in the wall to go straight to the pyramid head section. This one is definitely a bit finicky. You're going to have to play with it. Some people have to pause buffer this one to get the load to work. I think I have to pause buffer. I don't know. I've gotten it without the pause buffer. I've had to pause buffer before too. The general gist of this is we want to do this breakout and then continue dashing to the left. And you're going to notice James like drops a bit. We actually want that because the area that we're trying to get into is like just down and to the left from us. So we're going to do a breakout. We're going to go to the left, spam hard left. And then as soon as we load in, oh, I think I waited too long. Okay, good example. Good example of what happens when you wait too long. If you wait too long, you end up in this void, which is pretty bad. So let me, let's take it from the top. Let's just do the whole Otherworld Hotel in one shot. That's a good example. Yeah, I think I pause buffered too late, honestly. Which is weird, because sometimes I get that without having a pause buffer, so I don't know. Over here, do this one. Oh. Oh, that's weird. That works. Okay. Let me come over here. Cool. Load this. And we come over to this hallway. There we go. See, I think it loaded in before I even paused. Anyway, now we're in the Pyramid Head section. We're all good. Yeah, maybe. And that's it. That's really it. I mean, I'm not going to go into the details of this fight because, honestly, I don't know the details of this fight. But that's everything. If you've watched the entire video up to this point, you now know how to do all of the breakouts, both New Game Plus and New Game. And, yeah. You go forth and speedrun, my children. You now know it. You know everything. You're welcome. Oh, that's hot.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Yeah, that is Silent Hill 2 Remake any %, New Game / New Game Plus. Yeah. That's about it. What else do I have to say? Everything takes practice. Give it time. You're gonna have to get a little frustrated for some of these. If you need to step away and take a break, do something else. Do that. Don't let yourself get too tilted. Putting everything together in a run is pretty hard. It's tough to get a clean run where no soft locks or anything like that. I wouldn't put too much pressure on it early on. Just bang out runs. Just try and get them done no matter what. Reload the checkpoint even if it's a few minutes away. Just complete your first run so that you can say, I did it in one go. What else? I don't know. Have fun. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube and you have any questions, feel free to come to the Twitch channel. You can ask me anything. Everybody in the channel, for the most part, is as intelligent, if not more intelligent than I am when it comes to this stuff. Will I play the others in the series? Yeah, for sure.